Dear students, our first chapter of number theory is the fundamental theorem of arithmetic. It deals with the notion of divisibility, greatest common divisor, and prime and composite numbers. The first section is on divisibility. When a number d divides a number n, note that when I am saying a number, it must be an integer. So, an integer d divides an integer n if n is equal to c into d for some integer c. For example, 2 divides 10 because 10 is equal to 2 into 5. 1 divides 10 because 10 is equal to 1 into 10. So, what are the divisors of 10? Plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, plus or minus 5, plus or minus 10. So, you already gone through the theorem 1.1. There are some properties of divisibility. Some of them are reflexive property, transitive property, linear property, multiplicative property, etc. Of that, the linear property is very important. It says that if d divides a and d divides b, then d divides ax plus by for some integers x and y. That is, d divides a linear combination of a and b. That's a very important property of divisor. So, our next section is on greatest common divisor. So, we start with a theorem, an important theorem, that is theorem 1.2. The theorem says that given any two integers a and b, there is a common divisor d of a and b of the form d equal to ax plus by, where x and y are integers. Moreover, every common divisor of a and b divides this d. That is, if we are given any integers a and b, there is a common divisor d. There exists a common divisor d of a and b, which is of the form d is equal to ax plus by for some integers x and y. So, assume that first that a and b are non-negative and let n equal to a plus b. We use mathematical induction on n to prove the result. If n equal to 0, that is we are starting with 0, then a plus b equal to 0, then a and b are 0. So, take d equal to 0. 0 is a common divisor of 0 and 0. So, we get 0 equal to 0 into x plus 0 into y. That is d equal to ax plus by. So, the theorem is true for n equal to 0. Now, assume that the result is true for 0, 1, 2, 3 up to n minus 1. By symmetry, assume a greater than or equal to b. The other case, b greater than a is proved similar way. So, if b equal to 0, that is, we have a and 0. So, we have to find a common divisor of a and 0. Clearly, a is a common divisor of a and 0. A divides 0 and a divides a. So, take d equal to a. Then, we get d equal to a into 1, that is equal to a into 1 plus 0 into y, that is a into x plus b into y. Here x is 1 and y is an integer actually. So, d is equal to a into 1 plus 0 into y, that is a into 1 plus b into y. So, if b equal to 0, the result is true. Now, assume b greater than or equal to 1 and then apply the theorem, our induction theorem to a minus b and b. So, what is a minus b plus b? It is actually a, which is same as n minus b, which is less than or equal to n minus 1 since b is greater than or equal to 1. So, by our induction hypothesis, there is a common divisor d of a minus b and b such that d equal to a minus b into x plus by. Call that relation 1. So, here d divides a minus b and d divides b. So, by apply the linear property, d divides the sum a minus b plus b. The linear property is actually d divides a linear combination. For that linear combination, we put x is 1 and y is 1. We get D divides A minus B plus B. That is D divides A. So D is a common divisor of A and B. Now also from equation 1 we have D is equal to A into X plus B into Y minus X. That is D is a linear combination of A and B. So to complete the proof we need to show that every common divisor of A and B divides this D. Suppose D1 is a common divisor of A and B. Then D1 divides A and D1 divides B implies again by linear property D1 divides AX plus BY. Already we have AX plus BY is D. So this implies that D1 divides D. Now we assume A or B is negative or both are negative. Then apply the above result to modulus of A and modulus of B, which are always greater than 0. We get a common, by the above result we get a common divisor D of modulus of A and modulus of B, such that D is equal to modulus of A into X plus modulus of B into Y. Call that relation 2. If A less than 0 and B greater than 0, we have modulus of A is minus A, modulus of B is B. Then equation 2 gives D equal to minus AX plus BY. That is same as A into minus X plus B into Y. That is again a linear combination of A and B. If both are negative, then modulus of A and modulus of B are positive. Modulus of A equal to minus A and modulus of B is equal to minus B. So that D is equal to minus AX plus minus BY. That is same as A into minus X plus B into minus Y. Again a linear combination of A and B. If A is greater than 0 and B is negative, then modulus of A is A and modulus of B is minus B. We get D is equal to A into X plus minus B into Y. That is same as D equal to AX plus B into minus Y. Hence D is a linear combination of A and B. Now again a theorem 1.3, which is very important theorem, which is all about the GCD of A and B. Given integers A and B, there is one and only one number D with the following properties. First one, D is greater than or equal to 0. D divides A and D divides B. That is, D is a common divisor of A and B. If E divides A and E divides B, then E divides D. That is, every common divisor divides D. So by theorem 1.2, this is actually by theorem 1.2. You have to correct in the note also. By theorem 1.2, there exists a common divisor D of A and B, which satisfies the condition C. That is, theorem 1.2 says, 1.2, by theorem 1.2, there is a D satisfying condition B and C. If D satisfies the conditions B and C, clearly minus D also satisfies these conditions. So there are two divisors which satisfies condition B and C. But if D dash satisfies B and C, then D divides D dash, and also D dash divides D. Then by theorem 1.1j, we get modulus of D equal to modulus of D dash. Hence, there exists only one number, there exists a unique D satisfying A, B, C. Because whenever a D dash satisfying B and C, then modulus of D is D dash. That is, D is equal to plus or minus D dash. Hence, only non-negative D is unique. There is exactly one number D satisfying B and C. Also, if D is equal to 0 if and only if A and B are 0. In all other cases, D is greater than or equal to 1. That actually the number D satisfying above theorem 1.3 is called the greatest common divisor, that is GCD of A and B, and is denoted as the open bracket AB or ADB. When GCD of AB equal to 1, we call A and B are relatively prime. Now comes a theorem, that is theorem 1.4. The proof is left as an exercise for you. The theorem says that the GCD has the following properties. The GCD is commutative, it is associative, distributive, and the GCD of a comma 1 is 1, and GCD of a0 is modulus of a. You have to prove the theorem 1.4 yourself. You have to prove. Next one is theorem 1.5. That is a very important result. That is called Euclid's lemma. If A divides BC and if GCD of AB equal to 1, then A divides C. Given that GCD of AB equal to 1, so 1 is a common divisor of NB. 1 is a divisor, minus 1 is also a divisor. So only non-negative divisor is 1. So either by theorem 1.2, either 1 equal to x plus by or minus 1 equal to x plus by for some x and y, or both. If 1 equal to x plus by, we are done. If not, minus 1 equal to x plus by, then 1 equal to a into minus x plus b into minus y. That's equal to a into x1 plus b into y2, where x1 is minus x, y2 is minus y. In any case, 1 equal to a into x plus b into y for some integer x and y. So, multiplying with the c, we get c equal to acx plus bcy. But acx equal to a into cx. So, a divides cx. Also given that a divides bc, therefore a divides bcy. Reason is that bcy equal to a into ny. So, a divides acx and b divides bcy. Therefore, a divides the sum. By linear property, a divides the sum. So, a divides acx plus bcy. Hence, a divides c. Hence, the lemma.